There's something almost strange happening in America right now. Families are spending over $50, $60, sometimes even $70,000 on SUVs, and then quietly admitting that one of the best options on the market might actually be a Kia, not a BMW, not a Cadillac, not even a fully loaded American luxury SUV, a Kia. And honestly, that sounds crazy until you spend a few days around the Kia Telluride. Because the Telluride didn't just become popular, it exploded. Waiting lists, dealer markups, viral reviews, families recommending it to other families like they discovered some hidden cheat code in the SUV market. And the weirdest part? Most people who buy one weren't even planning to look at a Kia in the first place. That's what makes the Telluride story so interesting. This SUV completely changed how many Americans see the Kia brand. Because for decades, Kia lived in the shadow of bigger automotive names. People viewed the company as affordable, practical, maybe even smart financially, but not exciting. Definitely not premium. Nobody was dreaming about owning a Kia. Then the Telluride showed up and suddenly people started cross-shopping. Kia against luxury SUVs. That was the moment everything changed. And honestly, when you look at the Telluride closely, you understand why. This thing looks expensive. The proportions are bold. The front grille is massive. The LED lighting looks modern and aggressive. The body has that squared-off SUV shape Americans love because it feels strong and confident on the road. It doesn't look tiny. It doesn't look cheap. And it definitely doesn't blend into traffic. In fact, one reason the Telluride became so successful in places like Texas, Colorado, California suburbs, Florida, and even snowy northern states is because Americans love SUVs that feel substantial without becoming impossible to live with. That's exactly where the Telluride found its sweet spot. Because it's large enough to feel premium and commanding, but still manageable enough for daily life. And honestly, that matters more than people think. A lot of families don't actually want a gigantic full-size SUV like the Chevrolet Tahoe or a Ford Expedition. Those vehicles are amazing for certain buyers, but they can feel enormous in parking lots, suburban neighborhoods, and crowded city traffic. The Telluride feels easier to live with. But at the same time, it still gives drivers that elevated SUV feeling Americans love. You sit high, you have tons of visibility. The cabin feels open, the road presence feels strong. And then you open the doors and realize something shocking. The interior is genuinely impressive, not impressive for a Kia, just impressive. That's an important distinction. Because the Telluride's interior was one of the biggest reasons automotive journalists across America started praising this SUV so heavily. Soft touch materials, large digital displays, comfortable seats, upscale design, ambient lighting, panoramic roof options, PREMI/UM audio systems. Suddenly people were sitting inside this SUV wondering why it felt nicer than vehicles costing much more. And honestly, Kia knew exactly what they were doing. The company understood that modern American families wanted luxury features without luxury maintenance costs. That's one of the Telluride's biggest selling points. You get the feeling of a premium SUV without entering true luxury brand territory. And that strategy worked perfectly. Especially because the Telluride arrived at the perfect time. American buyers were moving away from sedans more aggressively than ever before. Families wanted SUVs. Road trips were becoming more common. Parents wanted extra cargo space. Drivers wanted vehicles that felt safe during winter weather or long highway drives. The Telluride checked almost every box. And unlike some competitors, it didn't look boring doing it. Now, to understand how impressive this SUV really is, you also have to understand Kia's history in the United States. Years ago, Kia was mainly known for affordability. Cheap transportation, budget-friendly cars. Reliable enough for the price, but not exactly aspirational. Then Kia started evolving rapidly. Design improved dramatically. Technology improved dramatically. Safety improved dramatically. And most importantly, styling became one of Kia's strongest weapons. That transformation became obvious with vehicles like the Kia Stinger and eventually the Telluride. The brand suddenly started feeling modern, confident, even cool. And the Telluride became the perfect example of that transformation because it combined practicality with style better than almost anybody expected. Now let's talk about performance. The Telluride isn't trying to be a sports SUV. This isn't some ultra-fast German performance machine. Kia focused on smoothness, comfort, and confidence instead. Most Tellurides come with a naturally aspirated V6 engine producing around 291 horsepower. That gives the SUV enough power for daily driving, highway merging, family road trips, towing small trailers, and carrying passengers comfortably. And honestly, for most families, that's exactly enough. The power delivery feels smooth and predictable. Highway cruising feels relaxed. Long-distance driving feels easy. This is the type of SUV you buy because you want stress-free transportation, not because you want to race people at stoplights. Although honestly, for a family SUV, it moves surprisingly well, especially on highways. The suspension tuning also deserves a lot of credit. The Telluride feels comfortable. That sounds simple, but comfort is one of the hardest things to perfect in larger SUVs. Some vehicles feel too soft and floaty. Others feel overly stiff, trying to seem sporty. The Telluride balances both surprisingly well. It absorbs bumps nicely while still feeling stable during highway driving. Long road trips feel relaxed. Passengers in the second and third rows usually remain comfortable even during longer drives, and that third row matters enormously. Because one of the reasons American families love the Telluride is because it genuinely works as a family vehicle. Not every three-row SUV actually feels spacious in the back. Some third rows feel almost unusable for adults. The Telluride handles space very well. Kids fit comfortably. Teenagers fit comfortably. Even adults can survive back there during road trips. That flexibility became a massive advantage for growing families, especially in suburban America where family road trips are extremely common. Now let's talk about technology, because this is another area where Kia became extremely aggressive. The Telluride is packed with modern features: large infotainment screens, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, multiple USB ports, wireless charging, driver assistance systems, 360-degree camera systems, blind spot monitoring, adaptive cruise control, lane keeping assist, highway driving assist. And honestly, some of these systems work surprisingly well. That's another reason many buyers started comparing the Telluride to luxury SUVs. The amount of technology you get for the price feels extremely competitive. Now compare that to some rivals. The Toyota Highlander is famous for reliability and resale value. The Honda Pilot is known for practicality and family friendliness. The Hyundai Palisade, which is basically the Telluride's corporate cousin, offers similar strengths with slightly different styling, but the Telluride carved out its own identity. It feels rugged without being too aggressive, premium without being snobby, modern without becoming complicated. And honestly, the styling plays a huge role in that. Even today, the Telluride still looks expensive on the road. That's important because appearance matters more than people admit. Families spending $40,000 or $50,000 on a vehicle want something they feel proud driving. The Telluride delivers that emotional satisfaction surprisingly well, especially in darker colors like black, dark green, gray, or deep blue. It has presence. Now let's discuss fuel economy honestly, because this is one of the few areas where the Telluride feels less impressive compared to some rivals. Since it uses a naturally aspirated V6 instead of smaller hybrid-focused powertrains, fuel economy is decent but not groundbreaking. It's acceptable for a midsize SUV, but buyers focused heavily on maximum MPG may prefer hybrid alternatives. Still, many American buyers are willing to sacrifice some efficiency for smooth V6 power and overall comfort, especially families doing highway driving. And another major strength is the quietness of the cabin. Road noise is surprisingly controlled in newer Tellurides. Highway cruising feels calm. Wind noise stays relatively low. Conversations inside the cabin feel easy. Again, this contributes to that premium feeling. Because luxury isn't only about leather seats. Luxury is also about how relaxed you feel driving. The Telluride understands that extremely well. And honestly, this SUV became so successful because Kia paid attention to what real American families actually wanted instead of chasing trends blindly. People wanted comfort, space, technology, style, safety, value, and that's exactly what the Telluride delivers. One thing that becomes very clear after spending time around the Kia Telluride is that Kia understood something many automakers missed for years. Most families don't need extreme luxury. They need something that feels luxurious enough. That difference matters, because there's a point where paying extra money for a premium badge stops making practical sense for many buyers. And that's exactly the space where the Telluride became incredibly powerful in the American market. People started looking at luxury SUVs and asking themselves difficult questions. Do I really need to spend $20,000 more? Is the extra badge actually worth it? Why does this Kia already have most of the features I want? Those questions changed everything. And honestly, some luxury brands probably underestimated how dangerous the Telluride would become when it launched. Because Kia didn't just build another family SUV. They built an SUV that made buyers rethink the entire value equation. Now let's talk about one of the Telluride's biggest strengths, road trip comfort. This thing was practically designed for American highways. Long-distance driving in the United States is extremely common. Families travel between states. Parents drive kids to sports tournaments. People commute through suburban highways every single day. The Telluride fits that lifestyle perfectly. The seats are comfortable for long hours. The suspension stays composed over rough pavement. Visibility remains excellent, and highway stability feels surprisingly refined. That's one reason buyers in states like Texas, Arizona, Colorado, Tennessee, and Florida gravitated toward this SUV so quickly. It feels built for real American driving conditions, especially highway cruising. And then there's the cargo space. This matters more than horsepower for many SUV buyers. Families carry luggage, groceries, sports equipment, camping gear, strollers, dogs, road trip supplies. And the Telluride handles all of it extremely well. Even with multiple passengers on board, the cargo area remains practical enough for real life. Fold the rear seats down and suddenly the Telluride becomes incredibly versatile. That practicality is a huge reason families fall in love with SUVs like this. Now, something else Kia did very smartly was offering multiple trims that genuinely feel different from each other. A lower trim Telluride already feels well equipped. But once you move into higher trims, the SUV starts entering territory that honestly surprises people. Ventilated seats, premium leather, large digital instrument clusters, premium Harman Kardon audio systems, heated steering wheels, advanced camera systems, panoramic roofs, driver memory settings. The experience starts feeling much more upscale than many buyers expected from a Kia. And honestly, this SUV helped normalize the idea that Korean automakers could compete directly with premium brands in certain categories. That's a massive shift compared to where Kia stood 15 or 20 years ago. Now let's discuss reliability, because this is one of the biggest questions people ask before buying any family SUV. Overall, the Telluride developed a fairly strong reputation in the American market. Owners generally praise comfort, technology, practicality, and overall ownership satisfaction. Kia's warranty also remains one of the strongest selling points in the industry. That warranty gives buyers peace of mind, especially younger families, especially first-time SUV buyers, especially people switching from older used vehicles. And honestly, peace of mind is one of the most valuable things a family vehicle can provide. Now, of course, no vehicle is perfect. Some owners reported occasional electronic glitches, infotainment bugs, or minor quality control complaints. That happens with many modern vehicles loaded with technology. But overall, the Telluride's reputation stayed surprisingly positive considering how massively popular it became. And popularity matters because extremely popular vehicles face more scrutiny online. People analyze everything. Complaints spread quickly. Reviews become brutal. Yet despite all that attention, the Telluride continued receiving praise from both critics and regular owners. That says a lot. Now, let's compare it more directly to rivals, because this is where things become interesting. The Toyota Highlander might still win for long-term resale value and hybrid efficiency. The Honda Pilot remains extremely practical and reliable. The Ford Explorer offers American SUV heritage and multiple powertrain options. And the Hyundai Palisade shares many similarities with the Telluride while leaning slightly more luxurious in design. But the Telluride balances all its strengths exceptionally well. That's the key. No single category completely dominates the competition. Instead, the Telluride scores highly in almost everything simultaneously. Looks, comfort, technology, practicality, value. safety, interior quality, road trip capability. That balanced formula is exactly why so many people ended up wanting one. And honestly, the Telluride also benefited from timing. It arrived during a period when American buyers were becoming more open-minded about Korean automotive brands. Hyundai and Kia had already improved dramatically in design and quality before the Telluride launched. This SUV simply became the breakthrough product that fully changed public perception. Now let's discuss driving feel, because this is another area where the Telluride succeeds quietly. It feels easy to drive. That sounds simple, but it's incredibly important. Large SUVs can sometimes feel intimidating. Heavy steering, poor visibility, difficult parking, awkward maneuvering. The Telluride avoids most of those problems surprisingly well. Steering feels light enough for city driving. The camera systems help with parking. Visibility remains strong, and the SUV doesn't feel overly stressful in traffic. That's a major reason suburban families love it, especially parents driving children daily. Now, another thing many owners appreciate is how upscale the Telluride feels during nighttime driving. The ambient lighting, the digital screens, the quiet cabin, the smooth highway cruising. At night, the SUV genuinely feels premium. And honestly, details like that create emotional attachment to vehicles. People don't only buy transportation. They buy experiences. They buy comfort. They buy confidence. The Telluride delivers all three surprisingly well. Now, is it perfect? No, fuel economy could definitely be better compared to hybrid rivals. Some competitors still have slightly stronger resale value, and buyers wanting true off-road capability may prefer something more rugged. But for most American families, those weaknesses simply don't outweigh the strengths. And that's the key reason why demand exploded. The Telluride solved the problems most buyers actually cared about. Now let's answer the biggest question. Is the Kia Telluride worth buying in 2026? Honestly, for many families, yes. Absolutely yes. Especially if you want a comfortable road trip SUV, a premium-feeling cabin-strong technology, excellent passenger space, stylish design, good overall value, modern safety features, a practical family vehicle that doesn't feel boring. The Telluride makes an extremely convincing argument. And perhaps the most impressive thing about this SUV is that it changed how people talk about Kia entirely. Years ago, saying, "I really want a Kia," would have sounded strange to many Americans. Today, people wait months for Tellurides. People recommend them constantly online. People compare them to luxury SUVs. That transformation didn't happen accidentally. Kia earned it. The Telluride became more than just another SUV. It became proof that modern buyers care more about the actual product than the badge on the hood. And honestly, that may be the Telluride's biggest achievement of all.